welcome back. You know, in the tech world, being precise is everything. Today, we're going to level up your language toolkit. We're talking advanced gerunds and infinitives. This is all about making sure your complex technical ideas land with, perfect clarity.
So, have you ever been in that spot? You're trying to explain exactly why a system failed or give an update on a deployment, and the words just aren't quite hitting the mark? Yeah, we've all been there. That's exactly what we're going to fix today. We're turning good communication into great communication.
Okay, so here's the game plan. First, we'll dive into explaining purpose and readiness. Then, we'll get into reporting past actions and system states. After that, it's all about describing what you see and why things happen. And finally, we'll wrap it all up into one powerful toolkit for you.
All right, let's get right into it. Section 1. This is all about the language you need to explain the why behind what you're doing, and also to talk about what a system or even your team is capable of.
So first up, the infinitive of purpose. This is your best friend when you need to explain why you did something. You can just use to, or if you're writing something a bit more formal, you can use in order to. The bottom line, it answers the question, why? Super direct, super clear.
And here's a perfect example. Why did the team create a test environment? Simple, to check the update safely. See how clean that is? It just instantly links the action to the goal. In tech, that kind of clarity is golden.
All right, next tool in the box. This one is the adjective plus infinitive pattern. It's awesome for describing the state of something, like how a team feels or if a system is good to go. It just adds that extra layer of description right before the action. Check this out. The team is ready, that's the state, to deploy the new version. Boom. It's so concise, right? Perfect for a status update. Everyone knows exactly what's going on. Okay, now this is super useful. Let's talk about to versus enough. It's amazing how these tiny words can totally flip the meaning of a technical report. To basically screams problem or limitation. But enough, that tells you we're good to go, we have what we need. And here's a classic example from the real world. If you say the code is too complex to maintain, you're not just making an observation. You're raising a red flag. You're pointing out a serious risk. It's such a powerful way to report a problem. Okay, moving on to our second toolkit. This part is all about being super accurate when you report what happened. Think incident reports, formal docs, any place where the sequence of events and who did what is absolutely critical. So this table here, it's all about adding layers of time and perspective. The past and passive forms are so important for showing when something happened. So to deploy is now, but to have deployed, that tells us it already happened. It's a game changer for clear timelines. Now look at this sentence. It's a perfect example. The application appears right now, but when did it crash? Sometime before now. That little phrase, to have crashed, lets you talk about a past event from your current perspective. Honestly, this is essential for good incident reports.
Okay, here is a little shortcut you're going to love. When you're talking about maintenance tasks, just use need with a gerund, like the server needs restarting. It's a quick way of saying it needs to be restarted. It's super common in tech, and it makes you sound like you know what you're talking about. Now, this next one is a bit more formal, but it's all about precision. In a report, saying the engineer's solving is just a bit sharper than the engineer solving. Why? Because it makes it crystal clear who did the action. And when you're keeping records, that kind of clarity is a big deal. All right, on to section 3. This is where we get into cause and effect. We're going to look at how to talk about what you saw happen, and more importantly, how to explain who or what made it happen.
Okay, pay close attention here because this is subtle but so important. If you say, I saw the system restart, that means you saw the whole thing, beginning to end. But if you say, I noticed the server slowing down, it means you caught it in the middle of the action. Choosing the right one adds a huge amount of detail to your report.
Now for a couple of easy but essential ones. Let and help. Let is all about permission, pretty simple. Help is for, well, helping, and it's a bit more flexible. You can use the simple verb or the infinitive. Both are key for talking about teamwork. Okay, causative verbs. This is how you explain who's pulling the strings, and the difference between them is huge. Make is about force. The bug made the app crash. No choice. Have is when you arrange for something to be done. We had the technician install the router. And get is about persuasion. We got the vendor to fix it. You see?
Each one tells a totally different story about how something got done.
And this is a fantastic example of that have structure in action. The company didn't migrate the database themselves, right? They had it migrated. They arranged for it. This have something done pattern is pretty much the standard way you talk about this stuff in project management.
So let's pull everything we've talked about together. The best way to think about all these patterns isn't as, boring grammar rules. They're real, practical tools you can put in your communication toolkit to build clearer and more precise messages every single time. And this slide really just nails it. Every pattern has a specific job. Explaining purpose? Got a tool for that. Describing a problem? Yep. Reporting what happened? Flagging maintenance? Sharing what you saw? Explaining who did what? These are the absolute building blocks for communicating effectively in tech. And that's really what it's all about, isn't it? This isn't about memorizing rules for a test. It's about letting your technical expertise really shine. When you master these forms, you can communicate with a level of clarity and confidence that just screams professional. So as we wrap up, I want to leave you with a question. Which one of these patterns are you going to use first? Think about your next report, your next meeting, that next code review. How are you going to use one of these tools to make your point even sharper?
Hey, thanks so much for tuning in. Keep practicing with these forms. I promise you are going to see a huge difference in how you communicate at work.